Hi everyone, I am here with my good friend Ben Tessler. Hi Ben,
Hello.
hello. Thanks
How's
for
everybody?
agreeing to this.
Hi, Lily.
Thank you so much for agreeing to this. Thanks for being here.
Thank
Appreciate
you
it.
for having me. This is great. I'm excited.
Awesome, I'm super excited. Let's get into this. First question, you're a neuroscience research person. Can you
Yeah, yeah.
tell us about your research?
All right. So right now I'm doing my PhD at SUNY Downstate Medical Center.
Woo,
My
woo.
degree is in biomedical engineering.
So your undergrad is biomedical engineering, and then you
Yeah.
went into neuroscience.
No, no, no. My program is biomedical engineering, and my
Mm,
project is within neuroscience,
wow.
electrical brain stimulation,
Wait, what stimulation?
electrical brain stimulation.
Electrical brain stimulation. What does that mean?
So I'm curious in how we could affect the brain using electrodes that are placed outside the skull. And it's difficult because the skull actually insulates a lot of electrical current, and it's hard to target deep areas. And so there's new novel techniques that can penetrate through the skull and then through various layers and target specific neurons.
How does it penetrate through the skull? Like the electrical currents penetrate through the skull, or like
Yeah,
what?
yeah, electrical. So we're interested in electrical current, electric fields, and yeah, they go through. The skull is, what's the skull? 0.01 Siemens per meter, which is
Siemens per meter?
yeah, that's the unit.
That's what it called. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. That's a unit of measurement.
That's a unit of measurement.
I'm not a science person. I love science, but I'm not a science person. So you'll have to excuse my
So it's
lack of
common
science
It's like
education.
it's okay. Uh, I was a little surprised too, in I guess high school when I learned this. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't. I guess I didn't learn this in high school. Solomon Schechter. No, I'm kidding. You will see my cat, my cat
Yeah,
niece. So yeah, you'll have to excuse me.
yeah.
Um, yeah, wow, that's so interesting. So, is this what is the purpose of stimulating the brain outside the skull?
So there's many different diseases that this can treat, and also cognitive enhancements. So there's lots of different devices out there that say that they improve sports performance, they improve yada yada. There's insomnia, depression, alertness. So people actually use this in replacement for coffee. I don't know. I've never actually done it myself because I'm a little nervous about it. I
Hmm.
would only do it if I really needed it. Like in my project, I'm going to be working with epileptic rats. So we're going to see if we could stop seizures.
How did the rats develop epilepsy?
So the second most toxic chemical, tetrodotoxin, we inject it straight into the hippocampus of the rat. It could be unilateral, bilateral, so both hippocampi. Um, and it damages a very small part, and all you need to do is damage a very small part for it to become epileptic, for it to have spontaneous seizures. And so what seizure is when your brain, when your various neurons, which are brain cells, would become over synchronized with itself, with each other, so they all start firing together and then start causing big
Ah, good.
waves
Sorry.
of firing that then cascade to what? That then cascade to uh, cause even more neurons to be recruited into the wave, the seizure,
So
and
that's
then
how you
eventually
create a seizure.
it's
It's
over.
like, sorry, I'm not. I'm trying to understand it in like layman's terms. So what you're doing is you're inducing a seizure by the way you described.
Yeah, so I haven't gotten to this yet. This is a third part of my project. I'm still working on my first part. My first part is modeling using computer models and physics solvers and then doing gel models. So I'd take
What is a gel model?
It's called agarose, and we make it the conductivity of the brain, and we make a little block of it, and then I put my electrodes and my recording electrodes in it, and then test if it's the same results that I expect out of my physics solvers.
Fascinating.
I'm also using like a cleaned rat skull. So there's this like weird guy that we buy from. He like has all these animal skulls that he himself, like, I guess, found dead and then cleaned them. And then, so we buy his skulls, and then I do surgery on it. I inject
Where
it.
did he kill these animals, or how did he
I don't
get
know. It was a curious guy. I could send you I mean, I don't know. I haven't looked at the website in a while. I haven't bought it in a while.
Maybe I'll tell my other science research friends about him, and then they can use his dead animals for research.
Yeah.
It'll be a great business connection.
Honestly, it is pretty cool to get a monkey skull. Like, monkey skulls are pretty cool to like have on the shelf, because they do kind of look like a human a little bit. But like having a rat skull on your shelf is kind of gross. Like, these skulls.
I mean, I think it's a little weird to have something resembling a human skull. I'm not sure why anyone would think. I mean, I understand why you say that's cool, but I mean, it's like, oh, look, it's a dead monkey skull because it looks like a human. I mean, a little dark. No offense.
I mean, my professor has one on his desk, or and it does look cool.
Oh yeah, I mean, I guess if you're like a nerd, then it's cool. I mean, like, I guess Bill and I, the science guy type people, have like human skull, yeah, and they're into skeletons and all that. Yeah, I was never a nerd, but I'm totally a nerd by association. Like, all my friends were nerds, but I'm not a real nerd. I'm like a poser nerd, if you will.
Yeah, you just give off nerd vibes, huh?
Yeah, all about it. But I'm not. I'm really. I vibe with nerds, but I'm not a real nerd.
All right.
Anyway.
Well,
so what?
We still love you.
Oh, thanks, Ben.
We love you.
We love you too.
Thank you.
What made you decide to go into neuroscience?
I've always been interested in the brain. Always, well, not always. So my undergrad, kind of a long story, but I didn't immediately jump into biomedical engineering. I first was just very good at engineering and science in general. So I took all the prereqs in 1 year when it should have taken me 2. And so I had a lot of time to just kind of explore various engineering fields. And so I explored electrical engineering, material science, and nuclear. And when I was in nuclear, I noticed there was this program called medical physics, and it was all about how radiation affects the body. And so it was dealing with radiation therapy and MRIs and various imaging techniques. And I was interested in health because I wanted to combine my math ability with being able to help the health system, which I felt like was much more important than doing physics and figuring out the Higgs boson or whatever. I mean, that would have been very cool too, doing physics, but I felt like it would be more relevant to do something medical related. And the job market obviously is important. Like, it takes billions of dollars to do a cool, exciting physics experiment, while it just takes one animal and maybe like $100,000 setup. I mean, you really don't even need that much also to build your own setups, but to do cool brains experiments. And neuroscience is a very growing field. Really, it started 50 years ago, while physics started like 300. I mean, you can't even say when it started. I mean, I guess all the equations were really written down and done about 120 years ago. But neuroscience, the equations are still being written, and so it's exciting.
Wow.
And so I got into biomedical engineering in my undergrad, and then I did a project with brain stimulation in my undergrad with someone doing working with a stroke model. So we gave these little rats strokes, and then we were giving the stimulation and seeing their recovery from the stroke. And it actually, we saw very big recoveries. And it was really impressive. But I wanted to understand it more. And so then when I did my PhD, then originally I was doing neuron modeling, so modeling individual neurons and how they work in networks. And then eventually, I found my professor that was interested in stimulating at a specific frequency called theta. And this brain oscillation called theta is important in learning and memory and in the hippocampus. And I was always interested in the hippocampus, how the memories work and how they're created, how they're used. And so it was a perfect fit. And so now I've been working on this project for about 2 years. 2 years, yeah.
Cool. Awesome. So what is the goal of your project?
So the goal is to see how effective brain stimulation can be from outside the skull. There's a few different goals. One goal is how useful it is for epilepsy. One goal is how useful it is to modulate hippocampal theta or any other brain oscillation. And then another goal is, well, the immediate project I'm doing like during quarantine time is looking at different electrode montages, electrode sizes, electrode shapes to see how that affects depth targeting. So
wow. Very interesting. Like fascinating. Wow. Good luck with all that. I hope that you achieve the research goals of your project. I'm by no means a scientist at all. I do happen to love science. Actually, I'm more of a math person than like science. I know that they're like siblings, but I don't do science for fun. I do math for fun when I feel like it. I'm bad at it, but yeah.
Right, I was supposed to teach you some math, huh?
You were, but it's fine. Don't worry about it. I could teach myself. Okay. Anyway, switching gears, can you tell me about your religious journey?
All right, my religious journey. Any specific part?
Yeah, actually. Yeah. I was hoping for you to talk about it, and then I would have a follow-up question.
All right, let's see.
Start from the beginning. What made you interested in religion?
I mean, just kind of being like going through my bar mitzvah. I was raised Reformed, and then in high school, I no longer went to synagogue or anything. I just kind of.
Why did you stop going because did you not believe in God anymore, or like what was?
I always thought like, I mean, up until I was 13, which is when I stopped, I wasn't really super interested in religion. I wasn't very interested in learning all the details of our history and learning a new language. Languages were tough for me. So I was kind of really happy to stop going after my bar mitzvah. And my mom and dad said it wasn't necessary anymore because I finished that. All my cousins, after they finished their bar mitzvah, they no longer went, or not all of them, but my Reformed cousins. And so I no longer went. And then when I was in high school, I had a lot of friends that were just kind of religious mindset, like kind of like, quote unquote spiritual.
Wait, Jewish religious or like not Jewish religious?
Yeah, most of them actually weren't Jewish.
Mm-hmm. What were they? Christian?
Yeah, Christian was one of them. Catholic was another. I mean, half Jewish, half Christian was another. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I mean, I always tried to bring up the discussion while I was with my friends. Then I would ask, obviously, my Christian friends, what does Jesus say about end times, prophecy, all this good stuff? And I don't know, as a kid, when I never read the Bible for myself, I was interested in what it said, and I felt like the Bible was true, even though I never had read it, and it just made a lot of sense to me. These were the stories I knew growing up. I mean, I kind of believed in Moses. I had watched like some History Channel things on like weird Bible things explained, like how there was like this guy that apparently had found chariots from around the time of Moses's exodus in the Red Sea,
Mhm.
and that there's like this weird ridge that goes across, and I was like, wow, this is explanation of how they got across it.
Across the Red Sea?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, I don't know. There's other weird things that I was interested in back in high school, and then eventually my first few years in college. But I had always, I guess, believed in something. I just didn't really know what it was, and because I had never read the Bible word for word, I had assumed that the Bible was like this holy religious text, and that I should revere it and assume that it's true before like testing otherwise.
Mm-hmm. And did that lead you to explore
All right, so
other
then
things?
yeah,
Yeah.
let me get into the story, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it was my first year in college. I took this class called Plants, Health, and Spirituality.
Plants?
Plants, yeah,
Like marijuana plants?
yeah, that was one of them.
Uh-huh. All right.
And so it was all about how different cultures use plants and use various psychoactive drugs specifically
Mm-hmm.
to become spiritual and to understand their place in the universe. And I had read these interesting books, which led me eventually to just start jumping into reading Kabbalah. And I had read Zohar stuff and was reading weird things about the stories of the Bible, but it was weird because I had never actually read the Bible for myself. And then what happens? Then then lots of things happened pretty much, and I got involved in a relationship that I shouldn't have been. She was feeding me all this other stuff that she beliefs, like reincarnation and remembering her past lives, and I don't know. It was very complicated, but anyways, when I got out of that relationship, I really just wanted to read the Bible for myself, and I didn't want to like get told what to believe, so I wanted to just jump right in. And so I bought a easy to read translation of the 5 books of Moses, and let's see what happened. But right away, I was like blown away by the stories and how like real they were, and how like it made me think so much about God and my perception of God. That is God like actually like, can I hear God coming? Can I talk to God? Like when in the story of Adam and Eve, it seems very apparent that God is like right there with them, and they feel like he's right there with them, and he's walking away, coming back. And so I was blown away by this. And then I was blown away by other facts in the Bible about how like terrible the Jewish people were, and how God like had so much mercy on us. And
Us. Wait.
yeah,
So wait, who's us?
the Israelites, maybe not us.
Okay. So the Jews were terrible, but God was good to us.
The Israelites sinned every step of the way, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. But God was okay. All right.
I mean, really, there was only like the only good things that the Jewish people did was just the forefathers. Abraham did a few like good things, and then and that's really the reason why God chose us, is how it's said actually in this last parsha. But and then the few good people like Joshua and Caleb and Moses and Aaron, like these are, if it weren't for them, God wouldn't have. God basically looks like in the Bible that God would have wiped us out.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, I used all this information, and I was like, you know what? I can't trust rabbis. Rabbis don't like these guys are the leaders that have been leading us astray, just like throughout all these other books and the prophets. That there's always a leader leading the people astray, and so I wanted to just learn it on my own. And so as I was reading through the Bible on my own, I made my own conclusions, and I was really curious about other interpretations of the Bible, not just the Jewish ones. So I was interested in the Christian ones. And for me, after about maybe a year of reading the Bible on my own, I got all the way from Genesis all the way through Jeremiah. And it was around this time I was in school taking a class called Philosophy of Religion. And this course actually really opened my mind to how limitless God is. Oh, also, I was reading books at this point about, before I actually jumped into the Bible, I was reading, and after that relationship, I was reading these theoretical physics books by Paul Davies. It's really cool. He writes, read like maybe like 4 or 5 of his books, and they're all about how we could understand miracles and how we understand the universe. That like the Einstein example of if no one was looking at the moon, would the moon no longer exist? So the universe needs an observer, and it's kind of exploring this effect. It's exploring the effect of borrowing energy to create miracles. Like it's one of the chapters I remember clearly is that it's physically possible, very improbable, obviously, but physically possible for there to have been energy absorbed from all around the universe to then allow specific particles to emerge at a specific location in such a way that it even creates some collection of particles that would be something that we recognize. So the example was that it's physically possible for a lion to appear and to just pop into existence right on your.
Is it physically possible for that to happen, or it's not?
It is. It's basically the example that
particles
are in
so
general.
you learned about that possibility in college?
No, this is in a book by Paul Davies.
Oh.
And I was reading it in conjunction with a course with the Bible and with a course called Philosophy of Religion. And so this was, in Philosophy of Religion, the main topic was the existence of God, the traditional attributes of God: omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient,
yeah,
creator of the universe, omnibenevolent, the traditional God. And just trying to see, is this logically consistent? Can there be a God outside the universe or through the universe, or how? Like, what's the most logically consistent version of God? And so the textbook was an argument between a Christian and an atheist. And I think the book title was just God ? It was a really good book, and I really liked all the Christian argument. All the guys, I think it was William Craig, something like that. I loved all his arguments, or maybe that was the atheist. I loved all his arguments regardless. And I was just so fascinated, like, how could someone believe in the Trinity and like God is three and one? Like, this is the most illogical conclusion that you can make. Yet he believes he makes all these very sound arguments against all these various arguments against God. And I thought it was fascinating how someone so smart could be so dumb. And so I read more.
No.
I opened my mind a little bit more to understanding, like, what does it mean? What does the Trinity actually mean? What is Jesus supposed to be? And actually, at the time, if you read through Jeremiah and Isaiah, chapter to chapter, you find that there are a lot of prophecies, and it does seem like that it's talking about a Messiah, a Mashiach, that he's going to be a singular person to rise up and then stand in front of the entire world and be a light. And I felt like, all right, so who's a Jew that I know? Because it's made sense to me that the Bible wouldn't just end at Malachi. Made sense that there would be a continuation, that there would be some ground rules for us to live outside the temple period. And I didn't want to just trust the Talmud. I wanted it to be clear from the Tanakh where my next step would be. And I didn't really have, I guess, guidance back then to figure out which book to read next because it wasn't clear. And so at the time, I was really curious about Jesus and what he did. And so I had opened up a random passage in the New Testament. And I believe it was Luke, where Jesus was on the cross and he forgave the thief next to him because he acknowledged God in front of the whole audience while he was being crucified. And I thought it was just a beautiful story. I cried. It was just like, it seemed exactly like the writing from the Old Testament. And so I think it was at that point where I actually believed in Jesus to be the Messiah, to be what it was talking about. And what other Jew did I know? I didn't know about the Rebbe back then, I guess. But even the Rebbe, I don't know, he's not known around the world. Jesus is known around the world. And so I was more curious about it. And I like I said, I had Christian friends, and I was hanging out with one almost every single day at the time. And he was actually Catholic, half Jewish. And so he was like, go to the Catholic church right down the street. And I never did. But then his roommate actually died in a car accident. And it was really
Sorry?
sad.
That's so sad. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Yeah, we would go to the gym with him almost every day. And hang out
How old
almost
was he when
every
he
day.
passed?
What's that?
How old was he when he passed away?
Probably 21, 22.
Oh my gosh, that's terrible.
And Andrew Klon, he's a good guy. He was like a frat guy, and so I wasn't in a frat. I was kind of the nerdy kid, and so it was hard for him to get to know me and stuff. But at the time, we were actually just becoming good friends too, so it was tough. But so I went to his funeral, and that was the very first time I went to a church. Was for his funeral, and at the time I believed pretty much in Jesus, and I was like, all right, well, this is a wake up call. I need to go to church. This is my first time in church. I'm listening to this priest talk about stuff, and I want to hear more. And so I went to a Catholic church for a little bit, maybe a few weeks. There was this little intro course, and there's this Muslim guy there, and we were talking about possibilities and various other things. And I was trying to ask questions like proofs about Catholic Church, about Jesus. And obviously he wasn't trained and ready to convert me. And this guy that was teaching us, he was just kind of giving me his free time. And then oddly enough, in this month-long period, Mormons knocked on my door. They'd never knocked on my door before. And the first time was during this 1 month. And so I let them in, and they showed me the second testimony of Jesus Christ. And I went to a Mormon church for a week, and it was really interesting too. Everyone was super nice. Everyone was super sweet. They knew obviously I wasn't Mormon, so they all gave me special attention. And that I was Jewish, and that they were constantly talking about prophecies about Jews becoming Mormon, the end times. And I'm always thinking is the end times now? Is the end times now? This was just after 2012 when everyone was thinking.
Oh my God, I remember that. Everyone thought it was the end of times.
I don't know. It was a weird year. I mean, just as you almost, I mean, obviously this year is obviously different than 2012 because there really wasn't any difference. I remember that day that the world was going to end. I took a nap because I'm just yeah, whatever. This isn't happening.
Guess what? We survived.
Yeah, we survived that.
We sure did. A whole 8 years later.
So let's see, where was I? So
what was the moment where I guess your friend's funeral, but then you really decided to take on, when the Mormons came and all that, that was, I mean, how did it happen that you became a Christian?
All right, let me get to the rest of the story here.
Okay.
No, nice butt.
Please excuse the cat.
All right, let's see. So I was trying to decide between Catholic and Mormon at the time, the two biggest churches, pretty much most structured churches.
Can I say something about you, Ben, before you continue?
Sweet.
I remember about a year ago when I met you, you were starting to think about Judaism. And you're like, so I can't decide if I'm Breslov or Chabad. I really feel like I'm starting to get to know you for longer, and I feel like that is the kind of identity conflicts that you deal with. Like, do you ever, I'm sorry, I know I'm changing the subject, but do you ever feel that it has less to do with the religion and more to do with yourself?
I mean, what do you mean? I mean, yeah, I like to explore religion and put a.
But is it less a religious conflict and more an identity conflict? Is what I'm asking.
Isn't it the same thing? I don't know. Why isn't it the same thing?
Um, because the religion, do you think the religion defines you?
Yeah, of course. A
You
little.
really think the religion defines you?
I mean, in
Like
some.
this, because I think to a certain extent, yeah, like being Jewish to a certain extent defines me, but it's not all of who I am. Is that what you think though?
I mean, it's part of my identity. I mean, because if the religion I believe in is the philosophies that I agree with and the morals that I have, and morals kind of make up who I am. Ideas make up who I am. Interests and priorities make up who I am. And finding out what's the priority in life. Is it knowledge? I mean, obviously, this isn't the one thing Chabad focuses on. I mean, Chabad focuses on like knowledge, mitzvahs. Um, I don't know. Obviously, the books, Tanya.
Hmm.
While I mean, I really don't understand Breslov very well. I was just saying that because I went on a camping trip with some Breslovs and back then, and I was maybe joking around a little bit. I still don't understand Breslov. I'm asking this Breslov guy to send me one book that I should be reading that explains Breslov. Obviously, there's all these stories of Nachman, but I don't know.
Hmm.
We'll save that for another interview.
All right, sounds good. Follow-up interview. So what were you saying before I changed the subject?
So I was deciding between Mormon and Catholic, right? All right.
Right.
So, and then at the time, I met some guy who was in my class. He was in one of our groups for, I guess, I think it was like a writing for engineers class, and we got broken into 4-person groups. And we were talking after class, and he was asking what are my goals, and I'm like, I want to go to Israel, and I want to move there. I don't know, become a scientist there. I didn't know. I forgot what
You really wanted to move to Israel and become a scientist?
maybe. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to
Any
do.
chance that you might continue, you might want to do that and be my neighbor when I
Uh,
move there?
we'll see. Who knows? Lots to still decide. I gotta graduate first and see where my next job is. But
Cool. Well, I mean, Israel's always there to welcome any
always.
Jew.
All right. Well, thank you. We'll see. Let's see. So, and then he was telling me about his church he just had joined, and I'm like, what kind of church is it? I'm like, I'm already looking at 2. Like, how many more churches can I be looking at the same time? And he's like, no, this one's different. It's non-denominational, and I didn't know what that meant really at the time. All I knew is that there was like 30 non-denominational churches in the city that I was living in, Gainesville, Florida. And I'm like, well, why would I choose yours just because I met you? Like, this doesn't make sense. He's like, all right, just come over for dinner and let's talk more about it. And so I went over to his place for dinner, and a couple of the other church guys from his church were there, and I started asking them questions. And right away, these guys were on the ball about where in the Bible that they were referencing all their answers
So this
to.
is when you were during the time you were deciding between Mormonism and Catholicism.
Like also like they do know their Bible decently well, but then
Hmm.
they're constantly quoting the Book of Mormon. That's like these random interpretations, and they don't really seem to. I mean, I forget what the exact things they were trying to convince me of. Obviously, they were trying to convince me of the Book of Mormon, which I was like kind of hesitant to read.
Can I just say something about Mormons and you? I feel like you look like a Mormon, and I mean that in the best way possible. Just like the huge smile and the aura, they're all about that stuff. So I do mean that is I do mean for that to be a compliment.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, but I know that I know obviously you're a Jew, but you do look like a Mormon.
I've never had that compliment. Thank you.
I mean, I feel like there's a reason why they were so nice to you.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I'm a nice guy, whatever. But yeah, they were really sweet people. Obviously, they're the guys that I was talking to were on their mission, and they wake up, go to sleep, thinking all about converting people. So they gave me a lot of time and attention.
Mm-hmm.
And so let's see. None of them were able to really prove what they were saying though through the Bible, and these guys at this dinner were. And so I was much more interested in them, and I went to their church a little bit. And then I kind of fell in love with their Bible study series. So it's called the International Christian Church. And what they do is they go through a series of about 7 to 8 topics before you're kind of initiated into the church. And these topics set you up to kind of understanding the main points of the Bible. You want me to list you through them?
This is your interview. You do what you want.
All right, so the first one is about seeking God with all your heart. And so obviously if you're not seeking God, going to church isn't the right choice for you. Like if you're just seeking to meet new people, obviously go somewhere else. Like churches.
Go to Hebra.
Yeah. Obviously the interpretation now I have is like, I mean, meeting people is kind of meeting God too, but like you should be seeing us like right the spark of God in Jews or in people, and so being together with people will help you meet God. But very black and white thinking in Christianity, obviously. And so it's the first study. Second one is the Word of God. So is the Bible, what do we use to reference our answers and the conclusions that we make about the decisions in our life? And obviously the Bible is what we should have if you're a religious Christian. And the third one is actually I'll ask you this question. How many times do you think the word Christian is used in the New Testament?
700.
No. There's actually only 3 times it's used.
Oh. I thought you were going to hit me with like a Chabad juxtaposition.
So it's actually surprising how little the Bible actually says and makes definitions about people.
Trinity, does that have to do with the Trinity? Is that like another number? Another Kabbalistic Christian number?
It's making the point that the word Christian is only used 3 times, but the word disciple, so it calls everyone that's Christian a disciple back in this time. And Christian was actually a derogatory term in this time period, like because Christian means Christ, Ian is little Christ. So there's all those little Christians running around. Little Christ. And let's see. And so really it's bringing you a step further into the Bible and what should we look for? What do we want to be like? Do we want to be like a Christian or do we want to be like a disciple? Obviously, we can't be like a Christian because it's only used 3 times. While the word disciple, I forget how many, something like over 500, I believe, times it's used. And then the fourth one is the kingdom of God, and then talking about what is the kingdom of God, what is heaven supposed to be like a little bit, what's the church supposed to be like, and then the cross, and then baptism. And so obviously a big part of becoming Christian, I mean, actually being Jewish, you don't really know these things about baptism. I always assumed that baptism was like circumcision. This is how you enter into becoming a Christian. And I thought at the time, before getting baptized, I need to read the whole Bible, like word for word. I have to understand everything. I have to be completely ready. But in the Bible, people didn't have the Bible. They just got baptized when they were called to get baptized. And so, but actually in the Christian world, baptism is very hot debate about, do you need to do it? When do you need to do it? Obviously the Catholics do it as babies, but then the Protestants say you can't do it as a baby. You have to do it as an adult to make the decision to do it. It's very complicated.
What happens when you get baptized? Is it like once you're baptized, you have like a shield and you're always part of the Christian people?
Let's see. I mean, the church I was a part of believed that this is the moment of salvation. This is the moment that your sins are forgiven, the moment that the Holy Spirit lives inside you. And when you really accept Jesus in front of an audience, and like there are constant verses on like, what are you waiting for? Get up and be baptized, wash your sins away. Then there's some passages about saying it's not a cleansing like a bath, removal of dirt, but a cleansing of your soul. It's kind of like a mikvah. Like a mikvah is.
You read my mind. I was gonna ask you if there's any connection to the mikvah. Like, do you feel that it's similar?
I mean,
Oh my God. Do you have ESP? Serious question.
I mean, this is just
Coincidence.
me thinking about what you're thinking. I don't know, predicting.
All right. So yeah, well, as you were saying.
All right. Let's see. So, and then the word is a Greek word for submerge. I mean, it's not like a new word.
Mm-hmm. But do you feel like you yourself, do you feel that there is a parallel between, like, when you think about mikvah and being baptized, do you think it's similar?
Yeah, it is like exactly the same, but obviously, in a Jewish perspective, you're supposed to do it regularly or whatever. I'm not really sure, but in Christian, you just do it once and you're good. Yeah.
Very cool. Interesting.
So should I keep going through this journey? Specific questions there.
Yeah, no, I definitely want to hear about it. It's very, very interesting because it sounds like you have all this desire to, like, whether you're a Christian, a Jew, whatever it is, like you have this real desire to be a good person, and like that's ultimately your motivation. Like, how do I be a good person? And I think that you don't really need to define yourself in order to be a good person.
I mean, it's not just about being a good person to other people. It's about doing what God wants me to do.
What do you think God wants you to do?
I mean, right now, or what are we talking about? In general, I mean, God wants me to be a good person, yes, but also God wants me to. I mean, it's not so easy to be a good person. I mean, sometimes like I love my job and I think about my job all the time, and it's not exactly an easy decision on what do I have to do at my job. What should I be doing next? What part of my job do I need to be focused on that will expand and then help as many people as possible? I don't know. There's big details on what I need to look at and start to understand to see my role in the bigger picture. And religion does that a lot, and it talks about what the world should look like, what it should be like, what are important morals to have. I mean, I constantly quote the Bible, even still. Like, I just read Pirkei Avos, so I'd read all of Psalms and Proverbs, and then a lot of parables in the New Testament are just like common morals that we have today. And yes, you don't need religion to become a good person, but there are really good stories on what you can relate to and how to become more emotionally stable. Like just having faith in general and a higher purpose will give you that sense of relaxation when you need it.
Sounds like a spa.
Yeah, I mean, meditation is a religion pretty much too. I mean, I don't know.
Very cool, Ben.
What was your original question? Sorry. You need religion?
I can go to the next question.
Okay, next question.
Next question. How do you deal with anger?
How do I deal with anger? I mean, I talk about it. So I've been journaling. I journal a little bit if I'm very upset. But yeah, biggest thing is solving it. Like, what am I angry at? Is it irrational? Is it not irrational? Is it solvable? I mean, one example is angry that the Holocaust happened, but what can I do about it? Not much. All I can do is really journal about it. I'm angry if someone says something mean to me, and how do I solve that? And talk to them about it. I don't know.
You talk to every single person who's made you angry?
I don't get angry so easily.
I know, you don't, but let's say you do.
Well.
You'll go and try to tell that person that angered you?
Yeah. I mean, you should. I mean, if you're that angry and you're going to resent them for it, you should. And you think that they could talk about it if you find them to be reasonable. I mean, obviously, you can't just blow up on them. You gotta do it in a calm tone and explain your feelings. I mean, there's a whole art to conflict resolution.
Do you think that being a religious person has helped you with conflict resolution?
Religious, but just going to church for. So I was a part of that church for 2.5 years, and being a part of a church like that, that's very evangelical. I met so many people, had so many interactions. I had 2 long-term relationships, and I learned so much about communication and how to deal with feelings and deal with other people's feelings. And it wasn't necessarily religion, it's just a lot of experience too, and a lot of help. Like, so when I was actually leading a small group of like 5 to 10 people weekly, a little half-hour discussion group, like on a Tuesday night or something like that, every week. I was mentoring about 1 to 2 people every week for about an hour. And I was mentored myself once a week for about an hour.
Christian mentor?
What?
Like a Christian mentor?
Yeah. Like, and then when I was in a relationship, then we had relationship sessions where the leaders of the church, they're usually married, and we would have time to see what's going on, what's good, what's bad, and it was nice. I learned a lot through these sessions and through being with people. And then constantly, obviously, being an evangelical, I would have Bible studies with new people. Like during the peak, it was like multiple Bible studies a day with people. It was intense.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
All right, let's diffuse the tension. Can you tell us, please, about something that happened deep inside your head that got removed via a device that you purchased on the internet? If you know.
Oh yeah, I wanted to finish my religious journey real quick.
Okay, fine. I wanted to diffuse the tension.
Yeah, well, that's very important. Yes, I know. But
I mean, it was inside of you. It's something inside of you that came out. I mean, it sounds like a.
So
purge.
I love YouTube. I'm very big into like and just being able to project your voice to the world and project your personality. And I really like PewDiePie is one of my favorite things to
Who?
do. PewDiePie,
What's that?
the most top viewed streamer, top subscribed YouTuber, very big influencer. He makes like 10 to 20-minute long videos. I sent you the video about simps, actually.
I didn't like that.
Yeah.
I wasn't into it. I mean, I understood.
He jokes a lot, but
Well,
he's constantly sarcastic, and you gotta.
no offense to him. I'm sorry. It's just not my humor.
Okay.
I mean, thanks for sending it.
Yeah. So let's see. And so I wanted to make a YouTube video, and so I didn't have any good material, funny material, and this was about a month ago. I had like an earache for a while, and I went to Florida, and I went swimming, and my ear got clogged. And during coronavirus season, it's hard to get doctor's appointments, and I don't want to have to wait 5 weeks for to go visit a ENT. I wanted to just get in there and see what was in my ear and see what I could do. And so I got a little endoscope online. It was like $20, and it's got a light, a camera, and it attaches to my phone. So I went in there and I checked it out, and I see this giant earwax ball, and I'm trying to get it out, and eventually I got it out, and I recorded the whole thing too because it has a recording function, and I was so happy to get it out, so excited.
I'm so happy for you. It was a very emotional video. It really moved me. You know what I liked about it? It was just a very like the honesty. Like it was so real. Like you weren't acting at all. That was you at your rawest, truest self. And like even the commentary was just very like it was moving. It really moved me. And I will link that in the description so everyone check that out. It's not as bad as it seems.
It's pretty bad. I had people telling me that they were gagging. Me, I couldn't even look at it. Like
What? You guys
I made it as a joke. I made it to send to people so that I could laugh at their.
Oh no, I was serious.
And so I
But
had
it's not like not everybody has. I wouldn't be able to watch it if it was just anybody. Like I feel like
thank you.
someone I know, so it's not that bad. No, but I have seen the worst videos are like the pimple popping ones. Oh my god,
Those are bad too.
those give me nightmares. I won't like those.
There's like satisfying ones, like if it's like an attractive pimple, like some pimples and some like things are just so gross I can't look at it. And myself, like even like I made the video, then I think it was that night I went through the video and I made commentary on it. And I edited it. This was my first time doing video editing, so I was all excited about that. And I put like some beats behind it, very excited about it. And I also thought like it was very difficult for me to learn how to do this myself. And I kind of, if you watch the video, you'll see some tips about how to get it out if you have the same problem as me, like which direction you got to scoot.
You know what? Fun fact about me, I do have an earwax issue. I have like a serious problems with my ears. Like it's, I have to go to ENTs regularly, and I have to like manage. Actually, all right, I'll talk about this. Like my boyfriend he bought me something. My boyfriend, yeah, because it was so bad. And like one time we were doing it together in the bathroom, and like this blob, like basically shits out of my ear. Excuse my language, like into the sink. It was really bad. Sorry to gross you out, but like that's what I deal with. So I understand. And like I went to this camping thing, and we went swimming, and like after that trip, like oh my god, I was like really suffering. So maybe I don't know. Maybe you could teach me how to manage my ear situation a little better.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. Like, if you watch the video, you'll see that what helped me like get the courage to do it was looking at some of these YouTube comments of this video of this guy's like, do not do do not do self-care of your own earwax. It's very dangerous. And then I would read some of the comments because these devices get like thousands of reviews and of people doing it themselves and having good luck doing it. And I'm like, I read one comment and he's like just being sarcastic, saying how he's a PhD in video gaming and he's very good at micro manipulating this tool to get out his earwax. You just got to do it carefully. And so I'm like, all right, I'm good at video games. I can figure this out. And so I got it, and it was very difficult, but I got it out. And then I was so happy to have gotten it out that I was sending the video around, and then I made a YouTube video, and then I started sending that out. And also, like I said, there were some things that I had to do, like break the tool to use a smaller scooper because it was too long. And I thought it'd be useful for people to look up. And actually, I got like 400 views on it. And most of those views are YouTube searches, people looking up endoscope, earwax removal, maybe for fun, but hopefully also to learn how to do it themselves. And so I liked my video a lot. But obviously it wasn't like, it's not something I'm very proud of. My girlfriend constantly tells me that I need more respectable videos, because obviously I could do videos on religion, I could do videos on philosophy, science, but here I am doing earwax.
Well, I mean, I'm sure you'll get there one day. I'm sure you'll upgrade.
Yeah, I know I will.
Point.
Anyways, never mind.
Yeah, awesome. Well, with that, I will let you have a final thought, final word. You can give a personal shout out. You can do whatever you want.
Well, thank you, Lily. I did want to finish, I guess, my religious journey, because I think
if you weren't done, then we can talk about that, please.
So being in church for about 2.5 years, I started having a lot of doubts about the Bible in general, not just the New Testament, the Old Testament too. And at the time, my dad, obviously my whole family is Jewish, and my dad had surgery for a cancerous tumor. And I was really very worried about my dad, and it caused me to re-question everything I believed about salvation, about the Bible, about Jesus. And I came to the conclusion that the God of the Bible isn't very fair. And it really took a while for me to internalize this, because it was hard for me to accept it. It took a very long time. Then I decided to go on birthright, and I went to Israel for the first time, and I really had a beautiful experience meeting awesome Jews.
Yay!
Really, what touched me very much was how many people fought for their country, not for religious reasons, and how passionate they still were without having a specific religion that they believed in. And also, I was very interested in Judaism, and I wanted to explore it more and understand it more. And then that was the time when I decided to stop going to church, because I no longer believed in that, and I wanted to kind of do my own thing. But then it was about a year until I met Aaron Cohn.
Shout out to Aaron. Hi, Aaron.
Yeah, he's home now, but now we're roommates.
Yeah. You are Aaron Cohn's famous, awesome roommate.
Yeah.
You and Jonah, shout out to you guys.
Yeah. Jonah's cool too.
Yeah.
And so let's see. So he had his Shabbat meal on one table, and this is the very first one table.
You met him at one table.
Yeah.
Wow.
Show up, and you gotta do an interview with Shmuel too. He's a very.
Oh my God! Stop! I mean, I'm not stop, but like you stop reading my thoughts.
So he's the first guy I met at Aaron's place, and I instantly bonded with him. and then this other guy, Menachem Ladowitz, then you, and then no wait, I don't think I met you actually at that party.
I think you met me. You came to my apartment at the time after, right?
Yeah, this is when I was roommates already with Aaron.
Right.
So I went to Shabbat Oneg, first time going to a party in a very long time, and it was obviously themed Shabbat, and so I really liked it. I met a lot of cool people, and very understanding people. Almost everyone at these parties go to Hebra, and so I'm like, maybe I should go to Hebra. But it took me a while after that to go again to one of Aaron's things, and I actually never did show up because I was at this time very focused on work, and then I finally had free weekends. I had so much time not going to church anymore, but I still was having a hard time planning for doing new things.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the time I was trying to move out, Aaron needed posted on Facebook, he needed a new roommate. And so I was like, you know what, I should go for it. And I went for it. And then the rest is history. Then I kind of followed Aaron around to shul and meeting new people to eventually making friends with you and friends with other people. And then figuring out my own thing. And now here I am.
Now here you are. And by the way, yeah, I'm like 5 steps ahead of everyone. I was definitely planning. Shmuel is one of, and his girlfriend are one of the people I do plan to do.
All right, so.
Spoiler alert, but yeah, as soon as they get back from their epic journey, I will contact them.
Hopefully soon.
What?
Hopefully soon. I miss them.
Hopefully soon, yeah. Yep. Yeah, so was that your final thought, or do you have anything else to say? You have.
I know you're gonna ask me about girlfriend, coronavirus, any new videos I'm gonna be making.
Oh, you're telling me what to ask you about.
Yeah, no, I was just expecting, I don't know what you were gonna ask, but I was expecting these 4 topics.
Tell me about your girlfriend.
She's awesome. She's my baby. She's good. I mean, we started dating right before quarantine happened, and it was kind of like the perfect time to start dating. It was like really, really great. And I don't know exactly what we're doing this weekend, but we've been doing Shabbat together. She really helps. She keeps Shabbat, and it's just really nice to do that with her. But she's awesome. You interviewed her.
I did interview her. Might have to do a follow-up interview. We'll see.
Yeah.
There are a few people I have to do follow-up interviews with whom I have to do follow-up interviews.
Good. Well, thank you.
All right. Huh?
Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you for your time.
Hopefully, you don't delete this.
Don't you worry. For sharing, and
thank you.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Hope you continue to explore and never stop asking questions. And I hope that you one day, with your wonderful girlfriend, make Aliyah to Israel, and that you guys will be my neighbors, and that we'll raise our children together. Is that a weird thing to hope for?
No. I mean,
yeah. I mean, I'm living in the South with my boyfriend, so.
And we're all gonna move to Israel eventually, huh?
Yeah, God willing. All right. Thank you so much, Ben. Namaste. Be well.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.